Hi, I'm Jim Ventura. I'm a local resident here in the South Bay. I am a registered architect. My registration is in Nevada. I am a real estate broker here in California. I'm just letting you know who I am that's telling you this stuff today. 60 years I've been around here, and 30 plus of that involved in construction type things related to architecture and real estate. I live in Los Angeles, as I mentioned, so I've seen a lot of stuff, as we all have, that live around here. But today, I guess I decided that I'd had enough of my heart being ripped out every time I see a very sad plight of the homeless situation that we have to deal with. This is a physical solution to the problem being described in outline, in loose thinking. It is not my idea. This set of ideas has been around for some time. I have recently discovered the Nextdoor app, and I believe that this platform might be a starting point to solve this problem. Don't get me wrong, I'm not giving you general strokes that you may or may not have heard before. I'm going to outline a specific answer to some very specific problems. However, this is only the starting point. In other words, this is something we can begin with as a catalyst to actually solve the problem. I believe it's solvable. I know that it's complex. I'm not kidding anybody here. There's a lot of different viewpoints and a lot of different angles, but there are also a lot of things we can agree on that all sides would, I think, agree on. Now, I'm going to be referring to some notes up here. I'll probably read a lot of it. It's a real thing to think about. Well, just how active a role should society take in saving this fellow I happen to be looking at today? Whose job is it? Is it my job? Is it, the city's job? The answer is we're a part of humanity, and this man has to be saved. I understand there's budget constraints and money and all of that, okay? But the bottom line is, if we're going to function as a country and in any kind of humanitarian way, we have to take on the role of trying to figure this problem out. So let's outline the idea. This is not going to be a very long video, so this just gets the idea across. Okay, and again, this is not my idea. The first time I saw this idea in very specific strokes was back in 1985 at USC Architecture School, where one of the students proposed something like this. And I'll describe her exact proposal actually at the end. But please listen to the discussion all the way through. It's very easy to point out, well, this won't work and that won't work. But these are initial comments on this big idea. There obviously a lot more has to be done to make it work. So let's try and look at the things that I think we can all agree on, okay? All sides of this very complicated issue primarily agree on one thing. The homeless cannot stay where they are now, okay? They can't stay as they are in camp today. There are those who believe that, there's an amount of ruining of our base society going on by this situation. If you are a business owner and you have a homeless person encamped in your entryway of your business because there's a little piece of roof overhead and they're able to get out of the rain, do you understand why the homeless person is there? Of course you do. He's trying to stay out of the rain. She needs to stay dried and be healthy. She's going to put herself there. She has no other choice. And you have to sort of look at these things at that level. What they have no choice. They're going to put themselves there. Does that business owner really want that homeless person out so that patrons can get into the front door of his business? I mean, of course. So the answer is the homeless person has to be moved. Okay. They can't stay as they're in camp today. There are going to be people that believe that if we ignore the problem, it'll go away. That's not going to happen. We have to find a solution. It's not productive for society. It's dangerous and unhealthy for the homeless. It is unsightly. It's not the way we want our public places to be where we conduct our lives. And okay, let's sound a little tough for a second. There are already laws in place that prohibit this kind of encampment. There's loitering laws, etc. We don't have to enact anything new so that we can make them move. So police can walk up and say, pick up your stuff and keep moving. The moment you don't move, I can arrest you. They can do that. Is it reasonable to think that a homeless person can take his few belongings, and believe me, those are very important to them. That's the only thing that's giving them identity is their stuff. So you want to put that all in their arms and make them walk around until the police goes away and they park again somewhere else? Is that a solution? No. So we can make the move, but the question is, can we pick them up and take them to a place where they're going to be able to get better? Are we the ones to decide that they'll get better? Are we the ones to impact their lives and say, you will do what I say you need to do to get better? Those are very complicated questions, but the answer is that we may need to pick them up and move them somewhere. Now, the key is to make a place where they want to go. Are you going to get 100% compliance? No, you're not. But if we can make a place where they want to go and they can see some amount of hope, and yes, you're going to have to categorize these people. There are certainly some there that are truly homeless, need help, and want help. There are some others there that are they're involved in the lifestyle so much that they're psychologically tied to it. There's others there that have psychological problems. In fact, I would suggest we all have some problems, but there are probably a lot of the homeless population that has some psychological issues, maybe close to 100%, are impacted even on day one. Can you imagine if you lost everything and had to move onto the street, how you would feel about yourself? They need help. But we're not trying to categorize anybody here. There are plenty of organizations that can already do that. I'm not trying to figure out the solution for each individual's problem. What I'm trying to do is make a place, a starting point where they can go and at least have opportunity to get help. Now, you have them scattered all over the city. That costs money to go out and try and deal with people. If you can gather them all in one place, you already save a substantial amount of money just simply by having everybody in one spot. And you can reach more people if you could do that. I think we all agree with that kind of thing. So we're not trying to resolve any particular end point for any individual homeless situation. Okay, it's complicated. What we want to do is make a place where all of these opportunities can happen. And we want to make it such that people want to go there. So in that spirit, in analyzing our collective problem and understanding it is all of our problem, if you are a multimillionaire, this is still your problem. So if you want to analyze the problem, there are a couple things that are obvious. Number one, I think anybody would say, our restrooms. We don't need the homeless urinating and defecating in the public space because they simply have nowhere else to go. Now think about this for a minute. Not only does it affect them, it affects you, Mr. Millionaire, because guess what? The restaurant you used to go to when you were out in the world, and if you think this is funny, go get on the bus, get yourself into about a 3-hour public transportation ride, which we should all be doing, and realize there is no place for you to go to the restroom. Why? Because they can't manage all of the people, the homeless, etc., that are going to want to come in and use the facility. That little Subway shop or whatever has to find a way to close its restroom because it just can't handle the number of people. So we have to deal with the restroom problem. We need public restrooms, and we're going to have to pay for that. And we're going to have to pay for the cleaning of that. We're going to have to deal with the fact that some of them are going to camp in the toilet areas. We're just going to have to do that. The restrooms are number one. Number two, a homeless person needs a place where they can sleep peacefully, where they can be without being booted and moved around all the time. Okay? A homeless person, if they ever want to get unhomeless, they need to be able to take a shower and get clean. Okay, and all of these things, you know, there are some of you that are watching this going, this is not my problem. I'm not going to pay for it. But if you don't want society to continue like it is, you are going to pay for it. And we have to find a way to make it so that it works cost efficiently. You know, we have recall campaigns that have no chance of winning, spending billions of dollars on advertising. We can't solve the homeless problem. Wake up, man. This is our problem. We have to solve this. Let me keep going. A homeless person needs the opportunity to have some amount of privacy. Can you imagine having all of your privacy ripped away from you and everything you do being like a zoo animal and people watching everything that you're doing? There has to be some privacy. You have to be able to recognize that a homeless person needs some personal stuff and they need a place for their stuff where it's not going to get stolen. Am I creating a hotel wonderland environment that people are going to move in here from Texas and go, wow, it's easier to be homeless in California than to try and work in Texas? There are some people that are going to say that, but you know that's not true. I'm not giving them an environment that they're going to want to live in forever. And the idea is, in this place, and I'll describe the place very specifically in a minute, but in this place, you're not going to have a great life, but you're going to at least be safe and be able to, if you want, get clean. And that's the starting point for all of this. If you want to talk about goodwill coming in and building a facility where some of these people that live in here temporarily can work, ultimately create a savings plan that at the end of some period of time, you hand them a check for $5,000 and they are no longer homeless if they don't want to be, I think that's a great idea. But I'm not trying to get into the individual aspect of how does a church organization come in and save their soul as well as their body? Great. We love that. Churches probably should be doing that kind of thing for the homeless. But if we create a place for them, it'll make it easier for them to do it. So what kind of place could this be? Well, this young lady back in 1985, who's now a very famous architect, and I won't mention her name, but genius, came up with this idea back in school of a homeless shelter park. You pick this person up on the doorstep of a business, you move them to this park. In this park, there are restrooms. There are places where they can sleep and not be moved around because everyone knows it's a homeless park. You don't take your dog walking in there. You don't take your kid in a stroller walking through and waving at the homeless people. This is a bad place. It's not a great place, okay? But it's a safe place for these guys. In this young lady's scheme, there was a thick wall concept where many things went on inside the wall. The thick wall meaning like a 8 or 10 foot deep space that would go on. They would become changing areas, restrooms, shower facilities, some privacy. And then, if I'm remembering it right, this is a long time ago, there was also a Goodwill being built, and a person could start out, do you want to try to get out of here? You're going to get 1 meal free a day. This organization's coming and bringing you food. But if you'd like to try to get out of here, help deliver the food. Oh, if you do that, you make a little bit of money and it gets saved into an account. You go a little further along, maybe you help prepare the food. A little further down the road, maybe you work in the Goodwill building and repair items to be sold. Maybe you sell the stuff. And eventually, after some period of time, and maybe it's a long time, maybe it takes 18 months to get through the program, here's $5,000 and here's some counseling and assistance to help you get out of it. But I'm not trying to pitch the exact architectural, sociological solution. What I'm trying to pitch is the park itself. Now, is this a park that we go in and take another park like Wilson Park in Torrance here? No. The city and the citizens need the parks exactly as they were before. If you go and spend any time, and I walk a lot in parks, you will realize that many parts of society are using the park facilities in a very wonderful way and keeping their family together. We don't need to impact that. We need you cities to go out and find some old industrial area, something somewhere, and build this as a separate place where the homeless people can go. We need the police to go out and pick them up. We need to say, well, keep moving. When you get tired of moving, though, I'm going to find you again. And when I do, I have this great place I can take you to. And you may not like it when you first get there, but you're going to realize what an outlet and opportunity this is for you. So anyway, and all of it done in a humanitarian, peaceful, loving approach. Nobody's forced. Everybody is wanting to be helped in the concept that we're thinking of, and it is idealistic, and it may be near impossible. So tell me, help me, people. How do we fill in the details and make this work? Where do we find the money to buy the park? Which part of the city government is involved in that? Is it city, or is it county, or is it state, or is it federal? I don't know any of that stuff. I'm an architect. I don't deal with these things. I deal with red tape all the time. So I know there's going to be plenty of red tape. But what have you got, folks? Give me some ideas. Thanks for listening.